Hey on, folks, welcome to my ASL Starter Kit replay, where I'm playing all the scenarios from the Starter Kit series. And currently on the table is Simple Equations, Scenario 3, from Starter Kit number 1, which I talked about in the introduction to this battle. And here we are. Forces are deployed. I didn't put too much thought into it. I just looked at the obvious situations and deployed according to that. So I prefer to do it that way. I know some people like to really look at every avenue of approach, every little modifier and position you can get to your advantage. I try not to do that. I like to have a little bit of unpredictability and surprise in my games. I am playing this solo as usual, which I prefer. And this is what I've come up with. Now, again, this is a learning scenario. I am relearning the system. I haven't played in months. So this will be fun. But you know what? Like I said before, ASL starter kits are a great way to learn the system. I mean, it's not overwhelming with rules. Obvious at times, not so obvious at other times, but it is the best way to learn how to play ASL. And I'm having a blast going through these scenarios. And again, deployment is done. The Germans deployed first. They are trying to protect these buildings. The Americans have to capture 25 building hexes from this board over here, which I believe is board Z. You can see there's two boards here. So none of the buildings over here. And Germans deployed first. I've got them basically 3 or 4 clumps, and I'll talk about them in a second. And over here we got the Americans all deployed. They are standard, for the most part. 14 units are 666, and 1 unit is elite. I believe it's with the flamethrower. Back here, and that is a 337 unit, so it's got a little bump in morale. And the Germans are pretty much second line. Conscript units, 447s make up the bulk. There's about a dozen of these guys for the Germans, about 7 or 447 second line units. The rest are conscripts, 436 units. Got 3 light machine guns and a heavy machine gun for the Germans. And I believe we have 2 medium machine guns and a flamethrower for the Americans. It's a really interesting scenario which has a lot of potential for bloodshed. Now, let's go down to the tabletop here and take a look at the deployment for the Germans. Like I said, there's about 4 clumps or clusters of the Germans. I've tried to mix the 447s, the second line units, with the conscripts. I'm trying to be as balanced as I can, except in this position. Now, in my mind's eye, and I think it's pretty obvious in this scenario, Germans definitely want to hold on to this built-up area. When I say built-up area, they are stone buildings, as you can see. 3 of them. And I intend to do just that. I've got my best commander, my best leader, an 8-1, with the heavy machine gun, as you can see here, and a 447 second line unit, and 1 here as well. And up here I got an LMG with a second line unit as well. Remember, the second line units are actually my better units in this battle. They're all occupying the central position. I intend to hold on to this as long as possible for the entire battle if I can. And it seems obvious to me that you'd want to control this position, and both sides flanking this position, if you look, are wide open ground and killing zones. And I intend to take full advantage of that. As you can see, I have an LMG stationed here. The heavy machine gun up here with this 8-1 leader also has this area to cover. And on the opposite side, we have another LMG up in this building. You can just see him. And he's also supported by an LMG here. And also, if need be, the heavy machine gun can also fire over in this direction. So we've got this whole open space covered. I think decent. And supporting them, I do have a mix of conscripts and second line units. I put the machine guns with the better troops. They're all in stone buildings. The 7-0 leaders are pretty much just there to rally units that break. I've got one here, and I've got one up here as well. Let's see if I can go up a little bit. And yeah, so my plan is basically let's hold on to these 3 central buildings, or at least if they have to fall back, we still have this area here, which is still central. Looks like some decent fire zones we got open there. There's some orchards over here, which are hindrances to line of sight. Not too worried about that at the moment. There's that 7-0 commander here. Again, he's intended for rallying purposes. I got these guys pretty stacked in here. Let's see what he's got, in fact. He has a 4.36 and a 4.47 are stacked in that stone building, and the LMG is, of course, with the better unit. So I think I've got all my avenues of approach covered with LMGs and the heavy machine gun. I think focusing on the central position and holding on to it as long as possible. I do have an avenue of withdrawing back into here into more stone buildings. I don't want to give up stone buildings as much as possible. We want to hold on to it, make the Americans pay a high price for each building hex they try and take. These flank positions over here and up here pretty much focused on covering these zones. I mean, that's going to be their objective in the battle. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at doing with the Germans. Now these guys back here, I have an 8-1 commander, again, for rally purposes, and a mix of conscripts and 2 squads of second-rate, or second-line troops. They're pretty much my reserve. You can't go into battle without a reserve, so I've got at least something there. And they're all positioned inside these buildings. That way I can, if need be, support the center, or set up a strong point for the lead units to fall back to, or support either flank. That might be tricky. There's some open ground, but we'll see how the Americans position themselves in the future, how well I'm able to support this flank or this flank. But I'm not too worried. I think I'm in a good position. I really want to focus on holding this position, this central area, really, and have my flanks protected by these forces here. So we'll see how well this works out. That's my idea. That's what's behind this. And I'm going to stick to that battle plan. And you guys will see if it works or not in the following turns. Now let's take a look at the Americans. Of course, the Americans are deploying second, so they know where the Germans are. They know what's going on. They know where the Germans' strongest positions are. So that is definitely an advantage. Now, again, they have the flamethrower back here. He's kind of in a central position with the elite unit. He's in some woods at the moment. Again, I didn't think too hard about the exact positioning of the units. Hopefully, we'll be able to move forward with them without too much trouble or getting shot at. We shall see. But I definitely want to take advantage of the woods and this road moving up through the woods. I want to get some troops in position up here. Not only to threaten this flank area, but support an attack on the center. Looking at it from the side of the Americans, it seems obvious to me that we want to take that central position. And I don't know if it's because I'm playing solo or not, but I definitely see the value of that center position. Because those flank positions, as I showed for the Germans, are extremely dangerous to cross in the open. Especially since he has LMGs up there, which are probably the biggest threat. And keep in mind that heavy machine gun up in the center with that 8-1 right in here is able to fire to either flank if I get that far. I can't fire up this way because of the buildings. It can fire forward, but only up to this position here, obviously. Line of sight will be blocked with all those buildings. So it's going to be a close-range monster. But it can also shoot and support the flanks. So that's important to realize. Anyway, my 9-2 commander is spearheading this. I got a lot of 6.6 units that will be supporting him, moving up the middle, occupying these stone buildings on their way forward. We want to engage the center as quickly as possible. Don't want to use my flamethrower too early, but I do want the option to do so when the time is right. So he'll probably be a reserve force held in the back with the elite unit. You'll also note I have both my best commanders, a 9-1 and a 9-2, supporting the central attack. I don't want to do too much on the flanks. As you can see, I have an 8-0 commander and a bunch of 666 units with them. And same situation here, except these guys also have an MMG, and I'll talk about that in a second. But either flank, I pretty much want to threaten the German flanks. I don't want them to think that they can shift forces from those zones to the center. We want to keep them busy. Take some shots where we can. We don't want to cross in that open ground unless the enemy is weakened substantially. Get rid of those LMGs. We'll see what happens. I'm not too worried about crossing that open ground right now. I really want to focus my effort on taking out this position. They're German second-line troops. Not too worried. We'll see what comes of that. Americans don't have the higher morale. It's only 6. But again, I'm not too worried about that. So we will be moving forward here strongly. And let's see, I have 2 medium machine guns. One is here. And that's with a 666 unit. And these guys, let's see, we got an 8-0 and a 666. And we got a couple 666s in there and a medium machine gun. These guys not only are going to threaten this position, but I want them to take advantage of the cover of the woods and, if possible, support the attack on this central position from these guys. I really want to do that. And to support this central attack, I also have a medium machine gun here as well. Somewhere. Where is he? I think, there he is. He's over with the 9.2. It's the best place for him. So there's going to be a lot of firepower, at least I hope to put down, on this central area. So yeah, definitely a challenging scenario for both sides. Initially I thought this would be more challenging for the Germans to defend this, but with these open flanks to this position, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to come down to, well, at least the way I'm looking at it, and the way it's probably going to pan out, at least initially, is there's going to be a lot of fighting here in the middle. And we'll see who gets the upper hand. Things might change substantially for either side if this position is taken or if it's held. If it causes some pretty big losses to the Americans, they're going to have to rethink how they're approaching this. Yeah. But I'm not anticipating that. I'm anticipating a hard fight here up the middle, and the Americans forcing the Germans back. We shall see. We shall see, though. The Germans have their reinforcements as well. And even if they did fall back, they still have a strong position back here. And ultimately, I think it's going to come down to some shenanigans on the flanks. Who's going to commit some troops or weaken their flanks first? I don't know. But it should be interesting. Folks, that is the deployment, as well as my strategies for how I'm going to approach this battle. It should be fun. And I'm curious to see how this is going to pan out. We'll see if my strategy changes after this initial push up the middle. The Americans go first, and yeah, I'm going to show you the results of that movement in the next turn. Not the next turn, but the next episode to this. And that'll be turn 1. So we'll see. And one more little quick recap here. I will be advancing forward all along the American line, especially up the middle. Hopefully we're going to get some troops into contact with the German central position. I'm going to be laying down as much firepower as possible on this position, as well as taking shots where possible on the flank positions, seeing if we can get an opening here on either side. I don't want to leave these German flanks untouched. I want to put some bullets their way, basically. And for the Germans, pretty much just hold your positions. We've got 3 positions to focus on: the left flank, the right flank, and the center. We have a reserve back here that we can fall back to, or shift forces to the front, or if necessary to either flank, although the flank shifting would be a little bit more challenging. We'll see what happens. Let's see if we can hold on to as many buildings as possible for the Germans. We don't want to give any ground. And let's see what the Americans can do about that, if they can take some buildings over on this side of the board. Okay, folks, I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned. I got the first turn of the battle coming up in episode 2. Take care, folks.